All right, so we should be live now. It has a bit of a delay. But for anybody that is watching, I know it just started, so we will have more people coming in, but thank you so much for joining us. We are so happy to have you, and we're so happy to be celebrating the season of nurturing with Infant Massage USA. We are currently fundraising for our SEED scholarship, where we're trying to make infant massage education more accessible. And we're doing that with scholarships so we can grant free tuition to family professionals working with underprivileged communities like BIPOC communities, low-income communities, and immigrant communities. We want people that are working with underprivileged communities to have access to our training so we can spread nurturing touch as far and wide as possible and get as many families connected with infant massage as possible. And we're doing so with a series of fundraising events. And this is the first one, so thank you for joining us. We are having our lunch break series today with Dr. Mary Kay Keller. I'll give a brief introduction for her, and then I'm sure she'll be able to introduce herself. But so Dr. Mary Kay Keller is a certified family life educator and a certified educator of infant massage, or CEIM for short. She has a doctorate in human science and has 35 years of experience working with families. She is the chair of the Applied Family Science Graduate Program at Wilmington University, and she is the president of the board of directors at Infant Massage USA. But with all of those achievements in mind, she still will say that raising her kids is her biggest achievement. So thank you so much, Mary Kay, for being here.
Oh, thank you, Nick. I'm so pleasure to be here. And, I just really appreciate all that our organizational staff, yourself included, do for all of our CEIMs and for parents, in all the work that you do as well.
Yeah.
We do
So,
we do without y'all.
well, we couldn't do absolutely anything without our trainers and without our board. So thank you for, really pushing infant massage into the world, and making everything that we try to do possible. Before we really get going, I just wanted to remind anybody that is watching that you at any time during this conversation, you can donate towards our scholarship using the purple button where it says Tickens Donate with that snowflake. And if you want to comment or ask a question, you can do so using the campaign update that is right next to the live stream on the Give Butter page. So right now we're wondering like where everyone that's watching is from. We would love to know. I'm personally calling in from Richmond, Virginia. Mary Kay, where are you calling in from?
I am calling in from Delaware.
Delaware. Oh, not too far. I didn't realize.
I live in Newcastle, which I discovered when I moved up here was the first city in the United States.
Amazing.
It's pretty cool.
All right. So I see we have someone else calling in from South Carolina. Love to see all of that East Coast representation. Um, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I wanted to ask you about, Mary Kay, is like your experience with the first training you ever took through Infant Massage USA. I know that you've had a powerful experience with that, and I would just love to hear more.
Yeah, I had two powerful experiences. Let me give you some context to that too, as well.
Yeah.
I was living in Utah and I lived up in Brigham City at the time and just decided to go down and get training. And part of what drew me to it is they had a massage therapy school. It was the only one in the tri-state area. So different, Nevada, Wyoming, those areas would come in there to be trained as masseuses. And I started going down there to get massaged myself. And the reason was, and what I'm going to share with you that I don't often share, was that my childhood was devoid of any nurturing touch. The few times I visited my grandmother, she would hug me. Those just meant the world to me. But I grew up in a family where my ACE score was almost a 10. And so, I went through a lot of, I had a lot of issues. Let me just put it that way. And what I noticed was that I was what I call touch adversive. Like people would start to touch me and I would jump back from them. Like I didn't want to be touched. I was kind of like a wounded animal. And people would often take that as rejection. So I decided to get massages so that I could help myself heal from that and learn how to accept touch. And then when this flyer came across my desk that they were having a training down in Salt Lake at the massage school with Juliana Bavalik. And that was my first awareness of infant massage, was when I took her husband's training on nurturing parenting. And there was a module in there introducing infant massage. And I thought, what a cool idea. I just thought how wonderful that was. And at that point in time in my life, back in 1997, I didn't really know all of the benefits of infant massage. So going to that training, like you said, it was a very powerful experience on multiple levels. I was able to be there. She did a fantastic job with the training. She talked about not just about nurturing touch, but she talked about things like, child abuse and substance abuse and things like that. So
Yeah.
she had some really good sessions in there where she, helped us understand the full implications of, what infant massage could do. Two experiences I had in there. One was I got up one day and I'm driving, like I said, about 90 minutes to get down there in time for this training. And my youngest son, and I was trying to remember how old he was. He wasn't, I think he was in either third or fourth grade. He was somewhere around 8, 10-ish. He got up that morning and decided he didn't want to go to school. I'm on my way out the door, and usually what I do is I take him over and drop him off at school and then, come on down to the training. And so I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, I don't have time to argue about this. So real quick, what I said was, okay, that's fine, but you're going with me to this training. And he said, okay. So he went with me and he watched the training. And it was really fascinating because he was very intensely watching all this, And I thought he'd be bored, but he wasn't. He was fascinated with it. So we get home, and I said, James, I need to practice, and I don't have a dog here. Can I practice on you? And so I started practicing the massage techniques. And what was so fascinating to me was he was so quiet during the massage until I hit the chest area. And what we've discovered is when we carry grief, I was also a grief counselor, so I'll bring that in. I didn't necessarily get that in class, but when we carry grief, we tend to carry it in our chest.
Yeah.
And so what I found out was part of the reason I think that he didn't want to go to school that day. Our backyard had a fence, and the family behind us had 5 boys or something like that. So it was the first time we'd ever lived anywhere where he had so many boys to be around. He had me and his sister, and his older brother was already up. So he had a friend over the fence, and he started telling me this story about how his friend broke his favorite toy. He had this little, I think it was like a little hero icon. You know what I'm talking about. And and his friend had broke it. And he was really hurt that his friend didn't understand how much that had meant to him. And it wasn't something I tried to get on, we weren't online just yet. We were just getting online, but I was trying to find a way to replace it, in my head. And I thought about it later. I wasn't able to replace it. But my point is that once I left his chest area and started doing his stomach, and I mean, he wasn't, I want to be clear, he was laying there in his outside shorts,
Yeah.
because every once in a while somebody goes off on this infant massage in a direction I don't want them to go. But I just want to make sure everybody knows that, our viewers are listening today. So I started to, do his stomach, and then I did his legs. And of course he flipped over and let me do his back, which, most of us, who doesn't love having their back massaged? Because when we carry stress in the front, our back muscles also tense up, but he was quiet throughout the whole massage. And I just kind of noted that to myself and thought about how powerful that was. The second part of that training that was so impactful that I just realized this week had actually, I'll tell you the story. So
Oh,
Julia,
yeah, first of all, I love that like something came to you this week.
oh, it just came to me this week. And Juliana had two parents. There was one point in the class, I think it was like on Thursday or Fridays, we were getting to the end. She had asked two parents that had learned how to massage their babies to come in and demonstrate for us and to show us. Well, one was a mom and she came in and did. It was fantastic. It was wonderful. But what I got my attention was this father that came in. And when he came in a business suit. It was obvious he'd taken off work, gone pick the baby up, and who knows, maybe he was, maybe taking the baby to work that day. I don't know. It's an assumption on my part. He comes in his business suit. He had one of those back. It was when cell phones first came out. They were kind of big. And he brought the cell phone in. He brought the baby in, but he was carrying the baby, in one arm, and he had his briefcase, and his cell phone was up there with the baby too. But his briefcase with him, and he sat everything down. He pushed the briefcase and the phone away, and he just focused on that baby.
Wow.
And I was just mesmerized by this, because when I say, I'm proud of raising my kids, I did that as a single parent. And to see him so involved, and what happened was, it was like nobody else was in the room. I mean, we all felt that in the class because we talked about it afterwards. It was him and his baby girl, and he was massaging her. And there were no, it was like, it was such a sacred space, that I remember. I'm still getting chills talking about it. I
Me
remember
too.
I remember feeling at that time that I'd done the right thing. It was worth the 90-minute drive 5 days that week, and I couldn't wait. I was the center director of one of the largest counties in Utah at the time, of the Box Elder Family Support Center. I couldn't wait to get back and to get to introduce my staff to the idea. And that was just such a powerful, powerful thing. But when I say that, I just realized this week. So in 2012, when I graduated from Florida State with my doctorate, my critical review was on infant massage. And what I found in there is that there weren't that many. There were only 2 studies done on dads. And so it affected me, because that's what I ended up doing my research on, was teaching 5 fathers to massage their babies, and then ended up serendipitously. I mean, I was like, seriously, just in my email one day, and this email came out and said, do you want to do a Tallahassee TED Talk? And I kept looking at it, and I thought, what would I talk about? And I thought, dads and infant massage, and so I did it. And honestly, I still can't watch it. I don't know why, but I don't like to watch myself after I've done things, because I see mistakes sometimes other people don't see. There was literally one pace in there where my mind went blank. And I like to remember is I'd hung around a bunch of people who did plays, and they said, if you forget your lines, just go back to the last place, the last thought you had, and it'll all come back to you. So, people watch that TED Talk now and they tell me, oh, I thought you were being thoughtful. They had no clue my mind had gone blank, and I was panicking. But really, that training just set my career. I mean, it was personal. I got, as a first-time grandmother, I got to be able to massage my baby granddaughter, and I taught my daughter how to do it.
Wow.
It was so wonderful. But anyway, I'll be quiet now.
No, thank you so much. I love that you got to like spread it generationally. Like you got to experience that with your son. And you've got, I mean, as like throughout your career, you've been able to share it with tons of families, but to be able to share it with your daughter, and then therefore your granddaughter, I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remind everybody who's watching, if you are on our Give Butter page, which is givebutter.com/season of nurturing 23, you at any point you can donate to our fundraiser to promote our seed scholarship. And then also you can comment by going to the campaign update to the right of the live stream and commenting. So we'll be refreshing throughout the rest of our time together just to hear your thoughts. I would love to know, for anybody watching, if you had a specific memory associated with your first reaction to infant massage, or your first experience with an infant massage education training. So please share that with us in the comments under that campaign update. But back to Mary Kay, you also told me a little bit before this call about an experience with a crisis nursery. Do you want to go into that and, paint that picture for us?
Yes. So I started teaching it in the to parents. Actually, Box Elder Family Support was a parenting center, but it was also a crisis center. So people could bring their children or their infants and children in up to the age of 12 if they felt like harming them. We used to say, it's not a crime for it to cross your mind. It's only a crime if you act out on it. So, it took a while, but we finally got the community to trust our program and, that we were there to help them. And then we would teach nurturing parenting in their home or in the center afterwards. But I taught them infant massage as well. So I put out flyers. And then we also had a contract with the state that if they had any infants that they needed to place temporarily, that they could bring them in. So we did have one coming over the weekend. And on Friday, the state asked me to take a baby that had been substance exposed during it had been removed from the mom. And what they had done was contacted I think the grandparents were living in Boise, Idaho. And so they were going to come down and pick the baby up, but they couldn't get there right away. They had to, we had to keep the baby over the weekend. So what I did was I massaged the baby every 8 hours from the time it came in. Now, when the baby first came in, it was like this. There was no eye contact. There was no interaction. It was very withdrawn. Now, realize probably not just from the substances, but it had been in the crisis unit at the NICU, and, back then we weren't doing a very good job of realizing the kids needed to be touched when they have a lot of pain, needles, and so on, I think. So that baby was pretty shut down. By the time the grandparents got there on Monday morning, that baby was making eye contact with us. And when I got to put that baby in the grandma's eyes, he was looking at the grandma and the grandpa, and I explained to them what we had done. And they actually asked me to teach them how to.
Wow.
And so I knew when that baby left and went with those grandparents, I'm getting all teary-eyed, that the baby was going to be in a good situation, and I thought regardless of what happened after that, at least that baby had that introduction to massage and nurturing touch, because we don't know how powerful that can be for the rest of the person's life. I wished I'd known about it. I was always touchy-feely with my kids, but I didn't know anything about actually massaging my kids.
Yeah.
But I think it just kind of came to me naturally, like I said, from my experience with my grandmother. But it's pretty powerful.
No, it's amazing to hear how just like something so simple can be so impactful for a child that really, really needs that kind of positive impact.
Right.
Wow, that's really, really powerful. So with our remaining 10 minutes, I know you had a final experience that you had that taught you more about what positive touch really can do for people,
Are you talking
specifically
about
with
my
massage.
research, or are you talking about?
Well, you told me you had an experience with like that told you more about bidirectional oxytocin release.
Yes, the actually that was more through the research.
Okay, well, yeah,
But
tell us
yeah.
about it.
And so what I found was that when I was looking through, when I did my critical review, I mean, there were many benefits to infant massage, but the one that I really cued in on and could really relate to, I always wondered how these massage therapists could massage people's bodies all the time. They're strangers when you go in there, and I've got one now that I've been with her for a couple of years, and I keep telling her you can't go anywhere. Like I've been since I've had her. She's so intuitive and so good at it. And it's especially been helpful as I go through my cancer treatment. But what I found out through that research article was that it's biodirectional. So the reason masseuses can massage strangers' bodies is because not only does the oxytocin as a receiver, it flows in my body while I'm being massaged, but the person giving the massage also has oxytocin. And the reason that's so powerful, it's not just powerful about, LMTs and their patients. But when we teach parents how to massage their baby, that means both of them, that's the bonding hormone, that's the oxytocin, that's what helps us bond. And then attachment forms over time. So when you repeat these bonding processes, throughout life, that's what cements and strengthens attachment. And I want to throw just a little caveat in there. So Ashley, who's our executive director, just shared with me. I'm so excited because our 2024 conference, one of our main speakers is going to be Dr. Sue Carter, who is what I call the oxytocin queen. So make sure, if you're on, you guys don't miss this this next conference, So I couldn't believe, because she's pretty well sought out as a speaker, and her husband is Dr. Stephen Porges, who did a lot with trauma and really instigated the trauma-informed care initiative with all of what he's done on how trauma affects the brain. And trauma, trauma has a wide range there. It can be something as simple as, having been put in the NICU, and I don't mean simple as in it's not like a huge thing for a parent to have a baby in the NICU. But I mean, it can be something as simple as needle sticks, that can be traumatic, even though you've got the best parents in the world visiting, and, just those needle sticks can be traumatizing for a baby. So, there's a variety of different things that ACEs and ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. I've done a presentation last year on ACEs, but it was a different type of ACEs. And that's why I started thinking about the reverse of adverse childhood experiences: attunement, connection, and engagement.
Yeah.
And so I see nurturing massage, infant massage, that really helps us attune, connect, and engage with it's a huge opportunity to intensify that. And then you've got that oxytocin at the same time. That's what I mean by the intensification of it.
So, I mean, we know the research and the science behind an oxytocin release, but how can you describe what that feels like personally, like when you're massaging your son or a grandchild?
Well, it kind of feels a lot like when I'm getting a massage. I relax. I forgot one experience. My daughter, the one that had the granddaughter, was also kind of like she's suffered from fibromyalgia.
Mm-hmm.
And, I didn't ask her permission to share this, but I'll get to her. She'll probably be fine with it. But I massaged her one time, and I was massaging her back because her back was just really hurting her. And I said, I know you don't like to be touched, but would you let me just massage just this one specific area? And I started to massage her back. And not only did I start to relax, and so did she, but I said to her, I said, when I first started massaging you, I just wanted to cry. And she said, why? And I said, because I just felt like as tight as your back was, like I just had these feelings that, something was really, really bothering her, and it was an intuitive kind of thing. I don't know if it's a mothering thing, or I'm just intuitive. But it was really interesting because after the massage, she got up and she did like James did. She started talking to me about something that was going on in her life. So, that's why I think, the attunement, connection, engagement part of it, but the oxytocin was definitely released bidirectionally from both, because she was feeling bad. And that's what oxytocin is. It's a happy hormone. And it doesn't mean that you're sky high happy.
The love hormone.
Yeah, the love hormone, the bonding hormone. Do you know that you can get it? This is when I first heard about bonding and attachment, was that if you, lovers, for instance, have you ever noticed when people first meet and they're talking, they can't break the eye contact. Like they stare into each other's eyes. They gaze into each other's eyes when they first meet, Come to find out, that too releases oxytocin.
Wow. Wow. Something as simple as that.
That's the magic of falling in love.
Wow. I love, that's something that's I've really enjoyed as a staff member at Emphasize USA, seeing this combination of science with emotion is just a really powerful thing to learn about, where something so simple has such a powerful feeling, and that's caused through biology. As something like looking into someone's eyes can promote a hormone release that will have a emotional and biological positive impact on you. I think that's just so cool and so fascinating.
Well, it is really fascinating. And that was something I learned in my undergraduate degree. I didn't realize this going into it, but everything, our thoughts are all chemicals in our brain. Everything that we do, the brain is like the cockpit. Like I get on people about putting their helmets on their bikes. I'm like, if you hurt your brain, but every feeling we have, emotions and feelings are two different things. So feelings are the biochemical reaction. Like when you get angry, there's an explosion of many feelings. Like it's not just anger itself isn't the true emotion. It's all the other feelings that are coming up at the same time. So it's like a little bomb that goes off in your head. So you have different hormones that are chemicals that are releasing for that than you do for love. For instance, love itself is not the real feeling. It's actually all the biochemicals. So we have those feelings, but we also have emotions, and emotions mean to emote or to express. So it's how we express those feelings, whether we're talking them out and saying, I love you, or we're touching each other. That's the emotional expression. And a lot of times I think we have so many miscommunications in our society because people don't understand the difference between those two simple things. So I don't know if I kind of went off the deep end there or not.
No, no. See, this is information that more people need to learn, especially people that are working with families directly. And that's really why we have our Seed Scholarship, to really make this kind of information, that part of which we share in our trainings with InfoMassage USA, as accessible as possible. So do you have any thoughts on like what the Seed Scholarship can do and what we can do as an organization in the future?
Well, I think the Seed Scholarship is really wonderful. I think there are so many different avenues. There are so many different things that we could benefit from it. I'm not sure about, I need to dig in more to the limitations and what we can't do with it, before I go expressing myself, because I don't want to say something that, is totally not viable. But it's one of the reasons I'm so excited to see that we have so many CEIMs. And, even though people know that I work at a university and chair a university, I have my own practice as well. And, somehow if we can start to figure out how to support, I like my practice, and I have my own website and teach other things besides infant massage, like sign language for babies and parents to help them communicate better. And then I have something I
I
do.
didn't know you taught sign language for
Yes.
babies. That's amazing.
Yes, I do. And it's really good for the parents and communications. And then I have one called emotional whispering, because I got so tired of the childism in this country. When I hear people say babies don't come with instructions, they say, yes, they do. They're written in your heart. And what we really have to do is, that's that attunement process. When a baby's crying, they have different cries. I noticed it with my babies when they were little, long before I learned any of this educational stuff. They had a cry that told me when they were hungry. They had a cry that told me when they were wet, and I knew the difference between them. And so, is teaching people how to like read the baby's body language, because 90% of communication, like even though you and I are talking back and forth, only 10% of this is verbal. You listening to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Our brain is like a computer, and it's scanning our body language. Like I can see the excitement in your face when you like something I'm saying, and it helps me know I'm going down the right course. So I'm, in that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we don't even realize it, because we're so adept at it as human beings that we don't realize sometimes that, that it's happening. And so when we put that emphasis on that 10% of what we're saying versus that 90% of the nonverbal skills, we're losing a lot in the communication, or maybe, like I said, I grew up in a home that was not nurturing. Sometimes early on, I could misinterpret what strangers were saying, not realizing the difference sometimes between somebody being really excited about it or whether or not they were threatening and hostile,
Mm,
because sometimes, especially if they didn't have the right facial movements, that met that. But just really learning how to trust our own instincts as
yeah.
well. And so I like that. I'm getting ready to throw one out there here for emerging adults, because I hear a lot of parents complaining about not being able to get their kids launched, So I'm gonna do like this money management thing that I'm getting ready to throw up there. So I have those classes that I teach for the 0 to 3 population, and then I also am a family life educator or coach. I mean, so I provide coaching across the timeline as well for both parents, individuals. Sometimes come to me, when they're different types of relationship issues, and then I really am looking forward to dealing more with emerging adults, those 18 to 25-year-olds, because our brains, by the way, are not finally hardwired until we're 25 years old.
Yeah.
I keep saying, I don't know why we're allowed to get married or go to the military before we're 25, because we can't make those total decisions, at that age, So you're still in a land of, what if, rather than realizing this is the
Yeah.
reality. So I kind of get off topic there. So.
All okay, all good. So we are at time. So I just
Oh,
wanted to thank you so much, Mary Kay, for joining us. This has been a wonderful conversation. To everybody who is joining us online, thank you so much for being here. I want to invite you to our future Season of Nurturing events. So we have, for the next 2 Fridays, events similar to this one with 30-minute live virtual conversations about people's personal experiences with infant massage. We have a member mixer towards the end of this month, where any member of Infant Massage USA can join us for an hour-long networking event where we'll just get to know each other better, get advice from one another, and hear each other's experiences. So I would really encourage you to join for that. Would love to see as many faces as possible there. But thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And I would also deeply, deeply appreciate any donation we can get towards our CEIM scholarship to make infant massage education as accessible as we possibly can. And to donate, you could just go to that tickets and donate box on givebetter.com/season of nurturing. So season of nurturing 23, I should say. Thank you.
be the change you want to see in the world.
Yes, be the change you want to see in the world. And the change we want to see is infant massage education accessibility. So please join us on that mission. And thank you for joining us today. So hope you all have a wonderful day. And that is all we have to say. So thank you.
Have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
We no longer live.